And this weekend's winter storm didn't just ice up the roads, it knocked out power for tens of thousands of Georgians. For some people, that meant no heat, no lights, and some real safety risks. Let's check on how things stand right now in the power department with Matthew Kent, spokesperson for Georgia Power. So what are the latest numbers this morning, Matthew?
The latest numbers this morning, left over from the winter storm Fern, are about 3,700 outages in the northeastern part of the state. That's Cleveland. That's Cleveland, Georgia. That's Cornelia. The biggest danger up there has been fallen trees, and we are continuing to see some trees falling on power lines. So our numbers are fluctuating up there as we work to restore power. And we do have crews out there. They're out this morning as soon as it's safe to do so. High winds did slow restoration a little bit yesterday in icy roads, but we're making sure that as soon as it's safe, we're out on the roads to restore power to our customers.
I know you guys really took an advanced all hands on deck approach. Did you find that you ran into any surprises with the storms hitting areas you didn't expect to see significant outages?
I think, for the most part, we did expect North Georgia and Northeast Georgia specifically. We did have over 10,000 personnel mobilized to be able to respond to this incident or this storm. And, they did a lot of good being placed in the appropriate places to respond quickly. Like I said, the biggest thing is in the Northeast. There's a lot of trees, so we're working to navigate those and the icy roads.
And so tell me, how does the Georgia grid currently handle the winter spikes in demand, especially when we're talking about extended cold, even now?
The grid itself is doing very well. We were very impressed with our system overall over the weekend, and going forward into these low temperatures. We expect the grid to perform well, and we've not seen any issues to this point.
All right, so how much longer do you expect the restoration efforts to continue in those hardest hit areas?
We hope to get the northeast portion of the state restored today or tomorrow. And again, it really just depends on the trees that are down in the area. And I know the residents up there they want their power back, and we're working as hard as we can to get their power back. But they also see the reality of trees down the road, and they're dealing with the same thing that our crews are.
Yeah, it's a different story when you can actually see the impact, not just feel it. In instances like this, what do you find with the safety mistakes that you still see customers making during power outages? Especially, one of the main things we talk about is the generator use.
Yeah, when it comes to generators, first of all, do not keep them in your house because they do create off gases that could put you in danger. But I think one of the bigger things that we see is just they're improperly connected to a house's electrical circuitry, and that is important to make sure that it's done correctly. If you need to get a licensed electrician to do that, I highly recommend that, just because that can cause a lot of problems within your home if it's not done correctly.
Could extreme cold temperatures, following the storm like this that we saw, could that lead to additional outages in any way? Any connections there?
The cold itself, most likely not. However, if this ice continues to freeze, especially in the northern portion of the state, we would expect some additional trees to fall. But like I said, our systems handled this very well, and we expect that to continue throughout the week. I don't think there's any rain in the future or any precipitation in the near future. So if that continues, then we expect our system to hold up very well.
All right, so one last question. We have about 30 seconds. What should customers do right now to be prepared for the next winter storm?
So right now is a great time to fix any cracks that you see around your windows or doors, because you can feel that cold air coming in. So use caulking or weather stripping to fill those cracks. And if you have any places where insulation is lacking, now's the time to go fill those areas as well. Because if you can do that, that will save, they'll keep your heat in your house, and it will also save you on electricity bills, winter and summer.
All right, we are always looking forward to that. All right, thank you, Matthew, for being here with us and sharing those great tips.